In this video, we're going to take a look at 3 utility modules. We're going to look at gain, fade, and normalize. First, let's open up fade. And this is a very simple module. Basically, you can create fade ins and fade outs. So you can select a piece of audio and choose what type of fade in you want and then render it. So let's go for a logarithmic over here. That does a logarithmic fade. Alternatively, it could be more of a linear fade, or maybe even equal power. Similarly, you can do the same for a fade out. Maybe I want to select this audio over here and do a fade out. Go for a linear fade out, and you can see after you render, it creates that fade for you. It also works very well to use the instant process with this. So down over here, you can enable instant process, and for the option, you select fade. And as you select your audio, it's going to create those fades determined by what you have set up in the fade module. So as you can see here, it's set to fade out. I can switch to fade in, go for logarithmic, and now as I go over modules, I'm going to get fade ins. So it's really a simple module to use, especially when you're using the instant process. Just make sure you've got the module open so you can see what type of fade types are being created, and then just go through and drag through selections to create your fades. So that's the fade tool. Now let's take a look at the gain. I'm going to turn off instant process and then move over to the gain module. And this module is even simpler. Basically, you just set the amount of your audio that you got selected and choose how much you want to either gain it up or gain it down. So let's say I want to gain up this selection of audio by 10 dB. I can just render it out, and there you go. Obviously, this has pushed it up too far and it's clipping the audio. So I'm going to undo that. Maybe you find that this selection of audio, you want to reduce it slightly. So you can use this as a sort of a clip gain process. And this works really well if you're using the instant process. So I can go to instant process. I can choose gain as the instant process application. And now whatever I've got selected here, it's going to apply as I make a selection. So I want to reduce the gain on some of my audio clips. Nothing too drastic, maybe just by -2 dB. So as I make a selection, it reduces it there. This one as well. If I go over it again, it's going to do another gain reduction. And you can see that this is quite fast. You're just selecting selections of your audio and it's doing the gain reduction on it. Alternatively, you could also use the instant process to do an instant process on all the audio. So as you do that, the whole audio file has been gained down by 2 dB. So that's really the gain module. Very simple, but very powerful, especially if you're using the instant process. Then lastly, now let's take a look at normalize. Now with normalize, also it's very straightforward. You're just using an amount to set the target peak level of all your audio. So maybe you want your peaks to hit at -3 dB. Then you can set it here. So I'm going to select all the audio and then hit render. And as you can see, it jumps up all the audio to a peak of -3 dB. But bear in mind that this does increase the noise floor. So if I had to set this at a peak level of, let's say 0 dB and render it out, you can see that peak there is reaching 0 dB. That's the highest peak. But it is going to increase any noise floor that I might have in my audio. So that's the gain, fade, and normalize modules in the utility menu. Very simple modules to use, but very powerful. Let's move over onto some other utility modules. Catch you in the next video.